Hey there, how are you? We're hanging out outside for a little while. Um, I'm pretty sure we've got a storm blowing in. The wind is kicking it and it feels great out here. There's actually a little chill in the air. There's a lot of traffic going by, so I want to apologize in advance for that. There's nothing I can do about that. It's a busy time of day around here. Plus, it's getting close to the weekend. Tomorrow is Halloween. That's also something that I wanted to touch on today. I may not have time. It's been a long time since I've done a video like this. And actually I've learned that on my old channel, I don't have a time restriction on my videos. So I may actually post this on that one, and then just share it. I'll see. Nonetheless, the things that I really wanted to talk about today are, things that when I look back on my journey, when I look back on my story, things that, like, I didn't know were special. Things about me that, I just assumed it was like that for everybody. And of course, as I've gone through this journey, I've definitely learned that that is not the case. Anything from, getting goosebumps when a certain song comes on the radio, or, ringing in your ears at just like random crazy times. I don't want to necessarily call them prophetic dreams, but having dreams that actually happen. For a long time, I never remembered my dreams. And early, not that looking back, I can't remember a time where, it happened on a regular basis. It would happen every so often where, I would remember a dream. But back then, I didn't know how important it was. And over the last couple years, I have had dreams and not really understood what they meant. And, the main one, like, I really investigated it and tried to, break it down to try to understand it. And that was kind of when the rest of them started. Like, that was the first one. That one was the one where there were, well, really, that wasn't the first one. That was the second one. There were green skies, and there were big, huge metal baskets falling, square metal, more like cages, falling from the sky. They were attached to like parachutes, and there were black crows in the cages. I've never really been able to like link that to anything that's actually happened. The most recent one was the mudslides. I'm going to say it was right before I relocated here. I had a dream about, and I can't say exactly what storm it was in reference to, but ever since from the time I had that dream till now, there's been several areas that have been hit by bad storms that have had mudslides due to all the rain. So, it's certain things like that for a long time I never really understood. I didn't understand. I didn't understand why I was dreaming those things. I didn't understand, if there was like a hidden meaning or if they just didn't mean anything at all. And the same thing with the smaller stuff, like the ringing of the ears, like their random burps, random muscle spasms in your body, random eye twitching. There's all kinds of little things that we don't realize are spirit's way. It's our higher self's way of communicating with ourselves. And, for a long time, I never knew what that was. And at the same time, I never really went out of my way to figure it out. It wasn't until December of 2021 when I had the sleep paralysis that I really started investigating it. And that has happened to me one time since the initial time. It's happened to me twice, and it's one of those things where, doctors will tell you it's one thing, they'll try to rationalize it. With the sleep paralysis, they say that it's brought on by, when you're under severe stress, when your body's under severe stress, which, sure, that probably is true. But if you take it a step deeper, the reason your body is under that kind of stress is because there's other things going on spiritually that puts our body under stress. And because we're so disconnected from our spiritual body that we don't realize how stressed our spirit really is until that stress is released. Then we feel it. We feel it when it's not there anymore. And of course, as we grow in our journey, and as I talk about often, learning our body's own energy, we become aware of those things sooner. You can feel that change in your body. Something that happens with me is like it's like my whole body will start trembling as if I have a low voltage of electric current going through, like somebody's stuck some booster cables to me and I'm just pulsing with energy. And sometimes that'll get so bad that like I'll feel sick. It'll make me like nauseous feeling. And still, even as far as I've gone in my journey, there's a lot of things that, I don't really understand why it happens or what it means. But I strive to try to understand it or at least acknowledge it when it happens. Which I accept a lot of that, especially with my adrenaline and my nerves. A lot of that is PTSD. I don't know why, but it took me a long time to be able to realize and accept the fact that I do suffer from PTSD from a lot of different, I'm looking at 3 granddaddy long legs right now. There's one walking right towards me. There's one over here on the tree. And then there's one walking away from the base of the tree, going away from me. I've been seeing a lot of granddaddy long legs here lately. Granddaddy long legs and ladybugs. And then another kind of bug. It's like a beetle bug. It's kind of like a stink bug, but they're black and red. There's been a lot of those around. So that's another thing, signs from nature. I've always loved nature. I've always loved animals, but, Native Americans or some of them prefer indigenous. I always grew up calling them Native Americans because, they were native to America before it actually became America. So, call it what you will, but they have a deep connection with the earth. And I very much am drawn to Native American ways of living. I know that I have some type of Native American in me. I just don't remember what. But I'm pretty sure I have Native American in me on both sides of my family. And I'm pretty sure that I have Indian, like Asian Indian in me as well. I think I've even got a little bit of German. But nonetheless, signs from nature, back before we had technology and, all the stuff that we use now, back before all that, they used signs from the weather, from Mother Nature, from the birds, from the animals. You can watch how they move and how they act, and it'll show you a sign of bad weather coming. If the birds start not hibernating, relocating, that can be a sign that bad weather is coming, that the seasons are changing. And the seasons changing affects our bodies just as much as it does nature. But because we're so disconnected from nature, we don't realize it. We don't realize how similar we are and how much it actually affects us. You know, they talk about the spring and the winter. You know, people have a tendency to suffer more with depression during the winter time, you know, because they're cooped up inside, and you know, they don't, which some people, that's a year-round thing. They're cooped up inside. They don't get outside and get fresh air and get sunshine and, you know, try to connect, hug a tree, whatever, watch the birds, you know, watch the bugs, whatever the case may be. Like today, out of nowhere, there was like 4 random yellow jackets that just showed up around my truck, like out of nowhere. I don't think I've seen yellow jackets the whole time I've been here. And so I was like, dang, where are these yellow jackets coming from? So, you know, different things like that. I actually need to look that up. But that being said, you know, there's a lot of things that as we grow on our path and in our journey, we learn. And it's like, then we come to that moment in our life where, you know, we try to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, because it's like, okay, now that I know what this is and I look back, and you know, it's something that's been happening my whole life. I just didn't know what it was when it was happening. Like something, I'm going to tell this story and then I'm going to go because I'm almost out of time. My grandmother, my mom's mom, my grandma Sudi, she was a very godly woman, and we always said that she had a direct line. Like, don't ask her to pray for something if you didn't want it, because if she prayed for it, you were going to get it. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, like I said, I didn't realize this until after she had passed away. But every time she would hug me, she would start shouting like she was in church. You know, and as I got older, I remember observing that it seemed to really bother my mother. Like once my grandma started living with my mom, and it happened every time she hugged me, I think it really started to bother her. I never really understood that. You know, first of all, I never realized until after she had already passed that I was the only one she did that with. And then, of course, I never realized why it bothered my mother so much. Well, maybe part of the reason was because I was the only one she did that with. You know, maybe there was a hint of jealousy there. And then as I got a little bit older, one of the times that I was moving and, you know, I started my purge and started getting rid of a lot of stuff, I found the letter that she wrote to me when my mom sent me away to Wisconsin. And, you know, I had to have been like 13 or 14. And, you know, she told me in that letter how special I was and how much of a sweetheart that I was, and that she knew, you know, that one day the world would know my name. And, you know, I didn't even remember her writing me that letter. And when I found it, it was kind of bittersweet. You know, it made me happy, you know, in a way, to hear her say that she was proud of me. And it resonated so much with what I was going through at that time in my life, which was a very similar situation that I was in when she originally wrote me the letter. You know, there was just about 20 years gap, but no, not really that long, but close. That things really started to come together for me. And, you know, I don't really know why I was drawn to make this video. Maybe just for my own benefit. Maybe just to acknowledge how far that I've come and how much that I've grown. And, you know, maybe to encourage some of you out there that, you know, I say it all the time. Don't take another man's word for anything. Find out for yourself. You know, do the research and make your own decision. What do you think it is? You know, how do you think it's affecting your life? 1444 on the timer. You know, be your own guide. Don't let other people guide your mind, or your heart, or, you know, your life in general. And seek out the positive. You know, there's so much negative already in the world. Make the positive out of the most that you can. And as always, be grateful for what you have. The big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. Be blessed, find peace, and I'll see you next time.